This is the second vlog. It's basically in response to seeing articles in the media that annoy me. It's about the housing crisis in Australia. So we need a lot of houses built over the coming decade or more, and there's a lot of talk about it. So I saw this. This is the original article I saw. So that the building industry has warned that there's a government pledge. The government pledge to build 1.2 million homes over a certain period will be unachievable if construction activity continues at current rates. So they say the government target to build 1.2 million well-located homes over 5 years from July 2024 will not be possible if construction activity continues at current rates. So this is by the Master Builders Australia. So at the same time, I think part of the problem is that they're worried about industrial relations reforms, which means the builders won't be able to make as much profit. I think that's what they're worried about. So they're worried that they're going to be hosed with projects, and they won't be able to hire in the way, like they won't be able to get cheap labour. So yes, we need to be attracting more people to the industry. We need to be attracting more people who will take low pay, I think is what that means. So it's a problem. I'm thinking about what to say. And then I saw this article, which is saying what I've read before. So they're saying what they're arguing is that there's only 1 year where we've built. So there's a certain number the government says we have to build per year, which I forget what it is. It'll say it down here somewhere. I think National Cabinet's plan is to build 240,000 homes a year or 660 homes a day. However, Australia has only ever built more than 220,000 homes in a year, once in 2017 when it built 223,000. Okay, so they're arguing that it's impossible because we've never done it before. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, and they show this picture. These look like they might be mansions. They're also saying that infrastructure is going to be a problem because if you put more people in certain areas, then there won't be enough roads, schools, hospitals, because they're already at capacity. Okay. I don't necessarily know what the solution to that is. But you'd think if by some means there were more people in certain areas, then it's profitable. Would it be profitable? It's profit. Then once there's a lot of people living in a certain area, then it should be everything. They're going to need services, which they'll pay for. That's a different. I don't want to answer that question because I don't know the answer to that question. But they're making the same argument that I read before, that if you try to build a lot of homes quickly, then you're going to get crap homes. I don't agree with that. For various reasons, which I'll talk about. But what they're saying, the worrying thing they're talking about the demand. So they're saying because we've got a big immigration, we're having a lot of people immigrating, we need the homes. Okay. So I think, do they actually say it? we should stop the immigration so we don't have to build as many places to live. Oh, here we go. Do Australians want to live in high-rise apartments? Because that will become the norm with a population of 40.5 million. And this is possibly the same people that might want to buy an electric car because it's good for the environment. Densely populated cities leaving the countryside as countryside is green. Spreading out in huge suburbs with lots of big, huge houses is not green. People may want to do that, but it's I think at some point that's going to have to stop. I mean, large suburbs are not green, even though they might have lots of trees, because it means that they're spreading out, so you need to drive further to where you work. And it's like where in Victoria, near where I used to live, it's in Cranbourne, which I think was market gardens once. Now there's a lot of houses. In Eltham, which was orchards. I mean, the best areas. I think that they moved the original people. I have to be careful here. The second group of people that came to Australia moved to areas where they probably could grow stuff. And then they expanded out and took all that good land and put houses on it. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it. Anyway, I'm digressing. And I've lost the plot. So the argument, there's people arguing that we can't build enough houses. And if we try to build a lot of houses, they're going to be bad quality. And Australians don't want to live in apartments, but I think they're going to have to. Some people are going to have to, and there are a lot of people I think that do want to. Yeah, they're building them in Canberra. You have to go to Belconnen. I haven't lived in Canberra very long, and it's changing in a very short time. So they are doing it. Perhaps not quick enough. Okay. Let me just. The other problem is, at the same time as all this is happening, then because of the pandemic and other things, mostly the pandemic, then construction companies are failing. I don't know. This is weird. Since as of late June 2023, 223 construction companies have gone into liquidation. So we've got a problem. But I think the bigger problem is that we most products that we use today are mass produced in factories. Houses are not. Houses, it seems to me, are made in the similar way as they were forever, by hand, slowly. And I think that has to change. So if I can, So a house in Australia, this is just an ordinary, the houses I don't really like, although I live in one sort of townhouse. Pre-construction to take 4 to 5 months, while construction can take anywhere from 6 to 18 months. I mean, pre-construction, all the horrible dealing with the councils and whatever. 4 to 12. I don't know where they're getting 4 months. I think. Well, this. So my idea, and it's not just my idea. We can't keep on building houses in the way, or we can't keep on building the spread out 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms or McMansions as we have. We can't do it by hand. It needs to be in factories. It needs to be it needs to be pre-construction, modular homes or kit homes. No, probably not kit homes. I don't want to go into what that's talking about. But there are, I mean, some of these are little architectural gems, which I don't like, but there are companies in Australia that do it. Mirvac, which I'm not a subscriber, cuts the time to do it by 25% in a prefab townhouse trial. So when people are doing, this is the thing, the old way of building that the building, whatever it was, Master Builders Association was probably thinking about, it's not, can't be a solution. What? And then I saw recently that Mr. Chris Minns, who's the Premier, I think, of South Australia. Is it? No, maybe not. I don't. Who's Chris Minns? Premier Chris Minns. But this I saw the other week and I thought, amazing. I mean, already people are trying to shout him down, but this is a solution, a possible solution. Yes. And he's scrap existing electric vehicles. So the thing is that a solution, I think I said this in the last vlog, that a solution to the problem of fossil fuel usage might be electric vehicles or hybrids. I think I've read is the way to go, but probably a better solution is to make dense cities so you don't have to drive to work or as far. We're spread out in huge suburbs like we do in this country. Even in Canberra, which is called the bush capital, it always makes me laugh because what it is all these sort of satellites, which are great, which means, and the bush is all spread between them, so you have to travel often. If you have to travel on long distances in such a small place, low population, you have to travel such a long distance to work through the bush, the bushy greenery in some cases. And I just, why? That doesn't make any sense. It's not green. It's, but yeah, so more modular homes. Anchor homes, they're pretty cheap and they're pretty fast. How long? 14 to 18 weeks. So 8 to 10 weeks in the factory. 6 to 8 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks. So it can take a year to build a house. This thing. So the 14 to 18 weeks is not your time, because if they've pre-constructed it, maybe. But on site, 6 to 8 weeks. And because they're in a factory, they'll be it's going to be high quality because it's built on a production line, I would suggest. Another company. I don't like these because these are they look like they're for lovers of fine architecture, and they're not practical because they're all, in large spaces, and some of them look unusual. Cute homes. I mean, I would love to do this. If I had the opportunity to make a kit home. What's this? Oh, 3D printing. I don't know. I don't think 3D... I mean, I love the idea of 3D printing buildings, but I don't think it's mature enough technology to solve because we need the houses over the next 5 or 10 years. I mean, I have confidence in people in Australia that it could be done if there was the motivation to do it. we could do it, I think. Although it's not proven technology, so I'm sure there are many, many people in Australia who could get onto this if given the motivation and the money. But it has to be funded. We put the fab in prefab. Yeah, I worry about the way they're advertising some of these. But I guess they have to appeal to. These are completely prefabbed. We don't do ugly. Well, I don't know that it's the time to worry too much about ugly. That it needs to be livable. As an architect, I don't even know if he's Christopher Alexander. Buildings. What's his architecture? A pattern language. He wrote a book, which I haven't read, but what it talks about is the shape of the layout and the shape and the dimensions of buildings that are livable. So I don't think that he. I should read this book. I don't think that he's necessarily concerned about not ugly. He's more concerned about not depressing. So there's the patterns of things like this depth of a veranda to separate you from the street, and rooms should have 2 windows. I forget the reason for that. And then the hallway, I think it should be in a certain place between the rooms, and the dimensions of things to suit humans. So look, I didn't realise this, but he talks about the whole, more than just the houses, but the streets and the communities. How high should a window sill be? How many stories should a building have? How much space in a neighbourhood should be devoted to grass and trees? More than 250 of the patterns in this pattern language are given. Each consists of a problem statement, a discussion of the problem. It's not a... Yeah, I think... I'm sort of gone off the track. But I think in summary, what I'm trying to say is that there's a crisis in Australian housing. I think it's Einstein who said you can't solve a problem by using the same thinking that created it. So I don't think it's solvable by the kind of manual, old-fashioned ways we still kind of make buildings. I mean, we make office buildings, but they're still very manual. But housing, we still make... we definitely still make fairly manual ways. There are solutions like factory pre-construction, and even though some of the prefab houses look like they are trying to advertise to people by making them beautiful, it's more... That seems to be the wrong way. But the right way shouldn't be just utilitarian and ugly, but a middle ground, which is why I mentioned Christopher Alexander, of houses that are not depressing. So that not necessarily architectural rules, which I read somewhere, a complaint. I think there's probably a TED talk. I can't spell. Jules instead of practicality. I can't find it. Who was it? I'll have to do it in a different. I'll have to find it. But anyway, I've rambled on. I think it was something to do with the guy who did Architecture for Humanity, which has since shut down. I think he's a Scottish guy. So yes, I think in Australia that we're going to have to embrace modular and kit homes and pre-construction in factories and try to, and because it's probably true the building industry is insufficient to the task. And the reason partly is the demand's going to be huge. There's problems already with the building companies, but I think they are in the past and they need to move into the future. The way houses are made in Australia need to move en masse into the future. And I think part of the reason I'm doing these vlogs is I think I'm feeling guilty because I'm thinking I should be doing something about this more directly than just talking about it in a YouTube video. Anyway, thanks for watching.